What you reppin'? Where you at or where you from?
Giannis just pulling with everybody.
As badly as you played, this game is winnable. Milwaukee better start paying attention now.
Ain't nobody that could hold me down. This right here.
The Celtics lead. They were down 14 early in this quarter. Giannis gets the layup, giving Milwaukee a 1-point lead. Smart puts it up. No! Tip won't go. Another try. Horford, no! He tips it in, but it's afterwards. The game is over.
This is Way Up Sportsman. It's Lamont. We are back with another podcast episode. NBA playoff action. Another game of the day highlight video. And today we got the Celtics and Bucks. Another one of those swing games, right? This is a series where we saw the Bucks go into Boston and steal a game. Now they're back home looking to capitalize on being able to go into Boston and steal a game. But then we saw game two, and we saw how the Boston Celtics look like the team that we saw against the Brooklyn Nets, and they completely dismantled the Milwaukee Bucks in game two. And so that kind of changed everyone's mindset about how this series could go. And a lot of people were favoring the Celtics after that blowout victory. But now we take things back to Milwaukee. Again, Milwaukee is without their second best scorer, Chris Middleton. And so the biggest question is going to be, where do they get the additional scoring to go up against this Boston Celtic defense, a defense that's been number one in the NBA since the All-Star break? But you know what? This team definitely answered. The Bucks answered, and they answered big. They weathered the storms. They weathered enough of those storms to pull out a close victory. Boston wins this one. Boston loses this one, actually, 101. Milwaukee wins with 103. Clutch buckets at the end of that game. Before we get into the breakdown of what happened and how we got here, let's go ahead and get over to the highlights. All right, we're going to start this game off. Again, this was a game where Milwaukee looked pretty dominant early in this game, amassing a 13 to 14 point lead, I think, going into the fourth quarter. But as we see how this game starts, I want you really to watch how the Milwaukee Bucks are defending Jason Tatum. But then also on the flip side, when you think about Giannis in this Boston Celtics defense, how are they defending Giannis? Giannis on the attack right here, off the pick and roll. Refs are letting that go. Contact, massive dunk in the paint right there. Again, his physical play, he's going to have to really step up scoring-wise with Middleton out. How does he react? And then a pull-up jumper against Grant Williams. He struggled against battling with the physicality of Grant Williams, deciding with the pull-up jumper right there. And you see he's more calculated in his attacks. You see how he's picking his spots, and he's being more calculated in how he attacks these Boston Celtics defenders. He attacks with the pass right here. Wesley Matthews misses the three, but he gets the offensive rebound and layup, active all day, getting 40 points on the day. Really, really big games for Giannis today. And again, this is why a lot of people feel that Giannis is the best player in the league. When you look at the versatility, the size, his ability to score in traffic, as you see right there on three really good Boston Celtics defenders. Remember, 42 points on the night, 12 rebounds. And again, Robert Williams, who struggled to defend since coming back from the knee injury, off with the foul and one right there. Giannis with another drive, just really slicing up this thing. But then when we look on the other side of the ball, the defense, and not just the defense, his ability to get out on the break and then find his teammates, as we see right there, Drew Holiday, as Giannis shimmies for the layup. All right, Grayson Allen, and then we're kicking it out right here. Is Giannis, does he have the confidence to take those shots? And if you're going to allow him to take and make those shots, you're in for a long night. Giannis on the attack again right here against Grant Williams. They're not sending the double, and this is what they've been doing. They're not sending that double consistently, but he's being more patient and more calculated in his attacks. In this game, proved to be a bit more effective. ISO against Jaylen Brown. Spin move. Remember, they're not sending the double at all. Giannis is starting to recognize that. This is something that we saw against the Phoenix Suns last year in the finals. When he realized they're not doubling, he's going to be more calculated. His time is going to be a little bit better. He's going to start scoring over guys one-on-one, as we see he does to Jaylen Brown right there. Late in the fourth quarter right here as the game is tightened up. Giannis right here with the Euro step. Help comes late. And we see Giannis get the layup right there, which ultimately seals the game. The Celtics had a chance to win it at the end. Couple missed attempts at the rim, and it just wasn't enough. Horford's tip in with 0 time on the clock did not count, and the Boston Celtics fall short. Jaylen Brown led in scoring, 27 points. Horford with 22, White with 14, Williams with 10, and Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics. Now we did, and I'm going to take you guys to this clip very briefly. I want you guys to let me know what you think about it, because he does get a hand injury, and I want you guys to let me know, do you believe that this particular injury played a role in how ineffective he was? You see his stats right here: 10 points, 4 of 19 from the field, 0 of 6 from the three-point line, 1 rebound, 3 assists. But did that particular injury, as Giannis goes up for the contest, did that play a role in how he played throughout the rest of the game? We saw him grabbing at his wrist throughout the remainder of the game after taking the hard fall, right? And we saw a similar fall, although the play wasn't as dirty in Golden State Warriors series. But does this hand injury, does it linger, and does it affect Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics moving forward in that series? That's definitely something that we're going to have to watch for. When we look at the Bucks numbers all the way around, obviously Wes Matthews defensively was elite this game. I mean, when he was guarding Jason Tatum was 0 for 10 from the field. So his defense played a large role in their ability to pull out the tough win today. Lopez with 13 and 10. Drew Holiday taking over 30 shots tonight, which is very odd, but I think it was part of their strategy. 25, 7, and 3. We get 11 points off the bench for Connaughton. And again, the Boston Celtics are in a situation where another must-win situation in a very, very tough scenario. They're going to have to find a way to steal a game, similar to how Milwaukee went into Boston and stole a game. Boston now needs to steal a game so they are not down 3-1 in this series. I think that will ultimately be a major death sentence if they go down 3-1 to this Milwaukee team, because you're just giving them too many shots to eliminate you. And Milwaukee's is starting to show you. Boston, that defense has been stout. It has been elite. But you're not going to be able to continuously go away from not double teaming Giannis. And Giannis is basketball IQ, and his spidey senses on that court, he doesn't activate it. He starts to see that you're not sending true help to stop him at the rim. And as we saw in this game right here, 42 points for Giannis, 12 rebounds, 8 assists in a much more calculated attack. Boston's going to have to come into the next game. He's going to have to come into game 4. They're going to have to come with a new strategy. Now, whether it's doubling early, whether it's taking the ball out of his hands, allowing others on that team to beat him, but they cannot continuously guard Giannis Antetokounmpo 1v1 and hope for the best, because they got lucky a few times with Grant Williams having a few good games defensively. So those are some things we're going to have to take a look at. I think we're going to go ahead and get to the drawing board again, because I want to take a look at two things, and I think this was the tail of the tape for today's game. As you guys can see right here, Giannis, all right, more calculated. Like I told you guys earlier, the Boston Celtics defense 20 feet from the rim. He's making his mind up on how he wants to attack. He's getting between these guys with the Euro step, something that he's been working on over the last couple of years. Again, Euro step right here. Boston's closing in on him, but what is he doing? He's being more calculated, kicking it out to open shooters. Wesley Matthews knocking down threes, and this is one of the ways where they were really able to kind of just kind of beat them in this game of matchups, this game of chess on the basketball court. But then on the flip side of that, how did Milwaukee find a way to nullify the firepower of the Boston Celtics? Let's go ahead and get to that as well. And when we look at how they've been able to play defense on Jason Tatum, obviously they're almost essentially face guarding him, but everything's highly contested. Whether they're going under screens, They're making every shot contested, and they're forcing him to play in crowds every time he looks to score. And so with all those bodies around him, with all the noise going on, Jason Tatum is gonna, for the duration of this series, it's going to be tough for him to score the ball. I think it's going to be on him. How much more focus is he going to come in Game 4? What is the Celtics coaching staff going to do to try to find ways to get him easier looks? Because they're going to have to go away from some of the ISO sets where they're just trusting him to go 1v1 against this Milwaukee Bucks defenders, but really with no counterintuitive game plan with regards to the help that they're sending his way to just crowd him and make all of these shots tough. And we saw that against the Nets. Even though they won that series 4-0, there were stretches in multiple games where they struggled to score the ball because they were either just taking bad shots or you just had one guy on the floor just being, just having tunnel vision, right? Tunnel vision, straight line drives from the top of the key that are very easy to defend at the NBA level. And I think this is something that this Celtics coaching staff, this is something that they're going to have to contend with going into Game 4. Would love to see a lot more ball action. I would love to see Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum do more and more things off ball, right? And then they're going to have to get back to the defending, which allowed in the manner that allowed them to get into transition and get those easy buckets that get those young stars going early in the game. And I think those are going to be some of the keys to success if the Celtics hope to stay alive and steal a game in Milwaukee. But you guys, let me know what you thought about this particular game. Is the effort, energy, and style of play that the Milwaukee Bucks are coming with, is it a bit surprising as that they're doing all of this without Chris Middleton, their second best player? This is a guy, when he's playing at his best, they're missing an all-star caliber type of player. But yet the Bucks have found a way, bringing in the likes of a Wes Matthews, by committee, bringing in shooters off the bench to kind of fill in that void and make up for the loss of their star player. Do you guys have the Bucks moving on to the next round? Do you think this Bucks team just simply has this Celtics team number, or are there a multitude of things that this Celtics team can do with regards to adjustments to get back in this series? They still have a slight advantage, being that they're the team with home court advantage. If they're able to steal a game, right, and let's say even if Milwaukee wins another one, they can take a Game 7 back to Boston. I think that's the one aspect of this that favors them. But the one thing they cannot do is lose Game 4 and go down 3-1 going into a Game 5. I think that would be a very bad situation to be in, because you don't want to put Giannis Antetokounmpo in a position where he's smelling blood and he feels like he can get you eliminated, and it doesn't matter if it's in Boston or if it's in Milwaukee. But again, you guys, let me know what you think about this particular game. Really good game, went down to the wire. We obviously had another game today where we saw Golden State just completely dismantle the Memphis Grizzlies from start to finish. I mean, the Grizzlies had a hot start, making, I think, 5 threes in the first couple of minutes. But, after that, Warrior defense kind of settled in, calmed down. The bench came in. All of their star players, from Wiggins to Curry to Poole, all of them in double figures, just led a crazy attack that just knocked them out the box. And then we see Ja Morant with hopefully is not a serious knee injury. Obviously, without Dillon Brooks and his services today because of this suspension. All right, Memphis is similar to the Celtics. They're also in a situation where they cannot afford to lose a Game 3 and be down 3-1 to a team with the playoff experience that the Golden State Warriors have. Because, again, if they smell blood, you might as well pack your bags and start booking your trips to Cancun and Hawaii and all these other places, because you're not going to live to see another day. Hey, but as FYF Sports, man, it's been another great podcast episode. All right, we'll be back with more sports and news. We got the playoff game highlights coming. So, again, you guys continue to keep sending in your votes for game of the days. We're going to continuously do these daily highlights as much as possible. Again, just to give you guys a new brand of insight on these games outside of what you generally see, outside of the same talking points that you hear on some of these other media conglomerates who seem to have narratives they wish to push with regards to players, with regards to teams that tend to be everyone's favorites. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We'll be back with more sports and news. But until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.